Brothers and sisters, our heavy hearts go out to Nigerians for something crazy happened in the past few days. And we don't know how to comment about this because we've been used to Nigeria having bouts of attacks from terrorists. Terrorists which then people of Niger, their neighbors, who will tell you that it's Western funded. And the president of Nigeria, everybody in Africa knows, is a puppet. Let's see it as it is. And this time, it's a very, very painful instance for Nigerians, especially in the north of Nigeria. And for those who are asking what has happened, this is what happened.
Yeah, so they usually say, we usually hear people saying this deserves a moment of silence, but I doubt if in our African culture we have moments of silence. If we are celebrating a life, we will celebrate it in drums, in music, in humiliations, even if it's death. But Nigerians, we don't know how you celebrate the lives of these fallen heroes in your country.
We can only talk about it.
Let's get into it.
And call this mediocrity.
Yeah. So at least 85 civilians have been killed and dozens more injured in northern Nigeria following an accidental drone strike by the Nigerian army. Many of the victims were women, children, and the elderly who were celebrating the Muslim festival, Maulid festival. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. The army acknowledged that they mistakenly struck the village of Tudun Biri after they wrongly analyzed and misinterpreted patterns and activities resembling that of terrorists and bandits. The strike has caused outrage as President Bola Tinubu calls for a thorough investigation into the deadly incident. This era is not the first for Nigeria. In January 2017, at least 112 people were killed when a fighter jet struck a camp housing 40,000 people displaced by terrorist violence in the town of Ran. Imagine you are running away from terrorism and now you are being man.
Yeah.
The Nigerian army blamed the airstrike on lack of appropriate marking of the area in a report issued 6 months later. Nigeria's army forces often rely on airstrikes in their fight against the militias who've terrorized civilians living in the northwestern region. Operating in the country for over a decade, these groups are based deep inside the forest and conduct raiding expeditions to loot and kidnap residents for ransom.
So a few days ago, we saw the UN calling out Burkina Faso, saying that they have killed civilians. And you know what Burkina Faso is doing? It's exterminating terrorists. And remember, we told you in our last video that some of these terrorists would even have Ghanaian papers, documents. But now nobody is talking about it. No. Probably they will say, hey, something needs to be looked upon. But it's not like they are talking about Burkina Faso. You know. Another thing is, when you look at the airstrikes done by Burkina Faso, they are calculated. They are calculated, and they know that those are terrorists. And what happens is, as much as they are airstrikes, they are also army on the ground. What does this tell you about Nigeria? There is no army on the ground. They just look and they just say those are terrorists. And imagine it's people celebrating the Maulid festival. You kill, and some people are saying it's not just 85. It's more than 85. It could go up.
So far, I think 40 bodies had been recovered.
It could go up to 150, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is not the first time. In 2017, they did the same. So there's someone who's very incompetent in this.
All of them, including the president.
And
how does this happen? It's not the first time. It shows you that it happens, nobody cares, nobody's taken into, another one happens, same over and over.
The past one, they gave a report 6 months later after they've killed people. And I'm sure maybe at some point they said, these are the terrorists. And they passed out and people are like, no, they were not terrorists. And now they gave the report.
They had run away from terrorists, seeking some, coverage somewhere, and then you are killed still.
Yeah, and these are the people we are looking up to giving us a democratic coup in Nigeria in the next year. Do we have hope for that?
Be the same thing.
Over and over.
Yeah, they just forget about it. It's normal, those areas. And that is what I hate about this thing of saying that part of Nigeria is a no-go zone, that part of Kenya is terrorist infested, that part. Why should we allow that in our own countries,
Yeah.
And then why shouldn't we have the intelligence? Because if this has been happening for years in Nigeria, their intelligence should be far off right now. They should be seeing a terrorist for who he is immediately he enters their borders.
But the problem is, are they doing it? No. They are waiting for the white savior to come and do it.
Right.
You see, when Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali took their responsibility and decided we are going to do this for ourselves, that's when we are seeing Mali taking on Kidal, Burkina Faso winning in Jibo, among other things. But now, Nigeria will remain terrorist in the northern of Nigeria will remain an area of terrorists until Nigerians say it's over. We have to do away with the democratic elections, Western democratic elections, and we go our African way.
Wow.
Yeah. So guys, we feel for you, and we send our condolences to all the Nigerians who lost their brothers and sisters and parents and daughters and children, because they are saying most of the people who are killed were actually women and children.
Yeah, may Allah grant them peace and eternal rest.
Yeah. So
very sad.
We send our duas to Allah so that next year Nigeria will be free.
Hey.
We hope it will be free. Let us know what you think, and please, before you even comment, please, we beseech you to send a condolence message to Nigerians watching this video on our comment section. Just write, we send, feel it, condolences to Nigerians. And don't also forget to subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you in our next video.